Okay, this video is regarding femininity. I actually got a question from Being As I Am, and the question was, what are your feelings toward femininity in today's world, personally being that you're a stud? Very interesting question, and first off, let me just start off saying I appreciate you even asking me that, and even being interested in my opinion. I definitely appreciate that. So initially when I got the question, I was thinking to myself, yeah, I can go ahead and let me go ahead and do a quick video response to this. But then I got to thinking, it's like, that's actually not an easy question. I think I take for granted, you know what I'm saying, that you know, I'm opinionated on a lot of different things, that, you know, I can just start spouting some shit. But actually, when I sat back and thought about it, it's actually not, it wasn't the easiest question for me to answer for myself. So anyway, what are my thoughts on femininity in today's world, especially with me being a stud? Well, the first thing I think is important to note is that femininity, or being feminine, that's like a gender quality or a gender characteristic, and therefore it's socially constructed. It has nothing to do with biology and nothing to do with nature or anything like that. So femininity being socially constructed, how I feel about that, I've kind of always rejected that then. And thinking back on my life, I think I've always kind of rejected that socially acceptable idea of femininity. I think just the fact that I was somewhat of a tomboy growing up, but not all the time. There was at one point I was really prissy, but then kind of migrated to being a tomboy, which I guess kind of led me into being a stud, or being characterized as a stud. But femininity, I mean, and it varies though. That's the other thing. Like I'm kind of stuck here. You know, I started this video because I thought I had it figured out, but it varies from like it varies based on the people, the place, the time. I mean, because, for example, the epitome of femininity back in the Victorian days was a chick squeezing herself into a corset, you know what I'm saying, to give herself the hourglass figure and to push up the bosom and shit like that. And that was like the ultimate idea of femininity. And then, you know, the pale skin and the powdery skin or whatever, like all these different ideas of femininity. Then it came, you know, to where, you know, well, you know, even if you take it here, in certain churches, like my grandmother's church, women can't wear pants in the sanctuary. What? Okay, so that's what I mean when I say it varies from, like, it varies based on the time, the place, and the people, because the pastor of that church doesn't consider pants to be feminine, and therefore doesn't really believe that a woman should be allowed. Now, if memory serves, though, I think in my older years that rule has been lifted, but I know when I was younger that was definitely a rule. So again, to me, it just speaks to the idea of what people consider feminine and appropriate for women. But being a stud, I'm like the antithesis of that. The way I dress, the way I sit. If I have on a skirt, I don't know the last time I wore a skirt, but the last time I wore a skirt, I did sit with my legs crossed, because to me, that's how, you know, coming up, it was like, if you have on a skirt, keep your legs closed and keep your legs crossed. Okay, but when I wear jeans or wear anything else, I guess I don't sit feminine. I may not necessarily walk feminine. I don't wear lipstick or makeup at all, so people can consider me, they can say I'm not feminine as a result of that. Shit. Being as I am, you've actually thrown me for a loop with this question. I say here, like I said, I turn on the camera, I'm thinking I'm going to be able to get some shit out in like 2 to 3 minutes, and really the more I sit here and talk, the more I start to realize that, shit, I really don't know. I mean, like, I know what I think, but it's like, it's so much to think about the subject. And I really need to try to get some cohesiveness to this video, because I feel like so far I've been all over the place with this response. And so just to try to bring it back in, first of all, it's socially constructed. Femininity, the idea of femininity is socially constructed. I think, you know, being categorized as a stud kind of, to a certain extent in our society, may automatically count me out of being considered a feminine woman from the outside. You know, appearance-wise, I probably would not always be described as being feminine. Now, my mannerisms, on the other hand, I don't know what mannerisms, like, I try not to get into all those different socially created characteristics about how we're supposed to be based on what's between our legs. But I don't know that I necessarily walk masculine or feminine, or, you know, hand gestures. I don't know if those are masculine or feminine. I really don't know, but I would say on the outside, if somebody was just sizing me up, they would not consider me a feminine female. But characteristic-wise, I mean, if allegedly women are caring and emotional and not afraid to ask for directions and all this other bullshit that they say women do versus what men don't do, and Venus versus Mars and all this other bullshit, I mean, what I really have to ask myself and everyone else, including people watching this video and people I just talked to in general, are we conforming to what they say a woman or a man is supposed to be? Or are, I mean, like, because I think that's what it is. I mean, anytime they have a name to it, the socialization process, an actual scholarly term, which basically means the process by which we become human, so to speak. It's a process that has been created by someone other than ourselves. So it involves a bit of brainwashing. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, certain things you wouldn't know unless you were told. Just like, that's why racism, they say racism is taught. You don't come out of the womb racist. You know what I mean? If you had an Indian doctor or a black doctor or some other a doctor that was a different race from you, you don't come out of there mad that the person who slapped you on your ass for the first time was a different race than you. That shit is learned. So then, I guess in turn, femininity and masculinity then, it is learned. You know what I mean? Everything, a lot of the behaviors that we do are learned. And you have to just, I think when people end up branching out and figuring out who they really are themselves and who they want to be, you know, that's when you can break out of that mold that society has tried to create. But as far as me and femininity, I mean, it depends, I guess, what people define as femininity. So I guess, you know, if somebody asked me, you know, a specific question about, you know, I don't know, am I feminine or am I masculine? I don't know, because in American society, to be emotionally masculine means you don't cry. I'm a crier. So I guess in that aspect, I'm feminine. What else? It's stuff flying from the trees and stuff or whatever. But I hope nothing falls on my lip. Plus, I feel like my lips are dry and chapped. So anyway, yeah. So again, I'm sorry. Being as I am, I have no definitive answer. But hopefully, this just gave you a little insight as to where my head is, and you can see my head is just everywhere. It's all over the place. So anyway, I think I should go ahead and end this. I'm kind of rambling, and I, again, don't know if I've accomplished much of anything, but that was just a little bit of my insight. And again, I really appreciate you asking me the question and being interested in my response. And thanks for anybody else watching this video. Thanks.